Have you ever wondered about the true nature of your existence? Who are you really? Let me tell you something that you may have never fully considered. You are God, manifesting itself into a human body. You are not just a human being living a mundane life. No, you are far more than that. You are a divine being, an expression of the infinite universal consciousness experiencing itself through a human form. Think about it. There's a part of you that already knows this, that deep, quiet voice inside, the one that whispers, there's more to life than what you've been told. It's been with you all along, reminding you that you're not just flesh and bones, your body is simply a temporary vehicle. The real you is eternal. The real you is a God particle, experiencing this reality through the lens of human existence. But here's the thing, if you miss this truth, you miss the entire point of your existence. Let's break this down. How do you refer to yourself? You don't say, I am body, do you? You say my body. You don't say, I am hand. You say my hand. The words you use show that you already understand this on some level. Your body is something you possess, but it's not who you are. You are the awareness behind it, the soul within it. And this awareness, this soul, is divine. It is God manifesting itself in physical form, experiencing life through you. This is not some metaphor. It's the literal truth. You are a fragment of the infinite, a piece of the universal consciousness. The same creative force that powers the universe flows through you. You are not separate from it. You are it in a unique, individualized expression. So if you are God manifesting itself into a human body, what does that mean for your life? For your thoughts, your beliefs, your reality? It means that you are a creator, just like the divine force that created the stars, the planets, and life itself. The power that made the universe is within you, waiting to be realized. Your thoughts, your beliefs. They are not small or insignificant. They are the tools through which you shape the reality around you. You've heard the saying, what you think, you become. But let's go deeper. This isn't just a nice idea. It's the way the universe works. As God manifesting itself in human form, you have the power to create. Your thoughts are energy, and that energy shapes your experience. Every thought you have sends out a vibration, a signal. The more you focus on a particular thought, the stronger that signal becomes. So what are you thinking about? What are you focusing on? If you think thoughts of limitation, fear, or doubt, those thoughts will manifest in your life. Why? Because as God in human form, you are always creating, whether you're aware of it or not. If your mind is filled with negativity, that's the energy you're sending out into the universe. And because you are a creator, the universe reflects that energy back to you. But when your thoughts are filled with abundance, creativity, and love, you begin to attract those higher vibrations into your life. This is the essence of manifestation. It's not some magical process happening outside of you. It's you, God manifesting itself, consciously or unconsciously creating your reality through your thoughts and beliefs. Now let's talk about belief, because your beliefs are the foundation of everything you create. They shape your thoughts, your actions, your entire experience. If you believe you're small, limited, or powerless, your life will reflect that belief. But when you begin to believe in yourself as the divine being you truly are, everything changes. You begin to align with the truth of who you are, God manifesting in human form. But here's the incredible part. Your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's imagined. It believes whatever you feed it. This is why your thoughts are so powerful. Your subconscious mind is like fertile soil, ready to grow whatever you plant in it. So what are you planting? Are you planting seeds of limitation? Or are you planting seeds of greatness, of divine creation? Remember, every thought is a creative act. You are always shaping your reality, whether you realize it or not. The key is to become conscious of this process, to start intentionally creating the life you want, rather than being a passive observer in your own life. How do you harness this divine power? How do you start living as the God that you are? It starts with awareness. Become aware of the thoughts you're thinking, the beliefs you're holding, Are they aligned with the truth of your divine nature? Or are they keeping you small? Are you focusing on what you lack, or on the infinite potential that already exists within you? Once you become aware, the next step is to consciously choose your thoughts. Start thinking in alignment with your highest self, the part of you that knows you are divine, the part of you that knows you are here to create, to evolve, and to express the infinite potential of the universe. Visualize yourself living the life you desire, not as a distant goal, but as a present reality. See yourself experiencing the abundance, the joy, the love that is your birthright as a divine being. Feel the emotions of already having it, because emotions are the fuel that amplifies the energy of your thoughts. And most importantly, practice gratitude. Gratitude is one of the highest vibrational states you can embody. When you are grateful, you are acknowledging the divine abundance already within you. You're telling the universe, I have everything I need, and the universe, being a mirror, responds by giving you even more to be grateful for. So let's come back to the truth. You are not just a human being trying to survive. You are not small, powerless, or limited. You are God manifesting itself into human form. The same divine force that created the universe flows through you. And you are here to create, you are here to evolve, you are here to express your infinite potential. And here's the final realization. You are not alone in this. You see, we all are. Every person you encounter, every living being, every atom in existence, all are expressions of that same divine energy. We are all fragments of the same infinite consciousness, experiencing life in different forms. You are not separate from me, and I am not separate from you. We are all part of the same whole. When you look at the world around you, remember this. Everything that exists is a manifestation of God. The air, the earth, the people you meet, the stars in the sky, all of it is God expressing itself in countless ways. And because of this, we are one. There is no separation. There never was. There never will be. The divine exists in everything and everyone, and that includes you. So what will you create knowing this? What reality will we, as divine beings, shape together? The power is already within you, within all of us. All we have to do is believe.
If you believe that working harder will make you wealthy, you are operating under one of the most dangerous delusions known to man. Today, I'm going to shatter this illusion and reveal to you the one thing that separates the wealthy from the poor. And it has nothing to do with your effort, your education, or your circumstances. Stay with me, because what I'm about to share will completely transform how you think about wealth and success. My friends, let me begin with a story that will illustrate the profound truth I wish to share with you today. There once was a man who worked 3 jobs. He woke at 4 a.m., returned home at midnight, and repeated this cycle for 20 years. His hands were calloused, his back ached, and his bank account remained stubbornly empty. Meanwhile, his neighbor, a man who seemed to work less, stress less, and enjoy life more, accumulated wealth effortlessly. The hard-working man would often say, "Life is unfair. I work so much harder than him, yet he has everything, while I have nothing." But you see, my friends, this man had fallen into the trap that ensnares millions, the belief that physical effort alone creates wealth. He had confused activity with achievement, motion with progress. Now, before you think I'm about to tell you to work less, let me share the shocking truth about what actually creates wealth and why 99% of people will never discover it. The truth is this: wealth is not created by your hands, but by your imagination, not by your sweat, but by your state of consciousness, not by what you do, but by what you assume to be true about yourself. I have observed thousands of individuals throughout my years, and I can tell you with absolute certainty that the wealthy possess one quality that the poor lack entirely. They live in the consciousness of wealth before they have any physical evidence of it. Listen carefully to what I'm about to tell you, for it will seem contrary to everything you've been taught. The wealthy do not work hard to become wealthy. They become wealthy in consciousness first, and then the physical world rearranges itself to match their inner state. Let me share with you an experience from my own life. Years ago, I found myself in circumstances that would have discouraged most men. I had no money, no prospects, and no apparent way forward. But I had discovered a secret that changed everything. Instead of working harder at my circumstances, I began to work on my consciousness. Each night, before sleep, I would imagine myself as the man I wanted to become. I would feel the satisfaction of financial freedom, the peace of security, the joy of abundance. I didn't merely think about these things. I felt them as real, as present, as already accomplished. What happened next will challenge everything you believe about how wealth is created. But first, let me explain the dangerous trap that keeps most people poor forever. The trap, my friends, is this. Most people work from the consciousness of lack while trying to create abundance. They affirm poverty while seeking wealth. They declare their limitations while praying for expansion. Every morning they wake up and say, "I have to work hard to make money." Do you see the assumption embedded in that statement? They assume that money is scarce, that it requires struggle, that they must sacrifice their time and energy to obtain it. But wealth flows to those who assume it naturally, effortlessly, and inevitably. Now, let me be very clear about what I mean by consciousness. I am not speaking of positive thinking or wishful dreaming. I am speaking of a fundamental shift in your concept of self. The wealthy person does not hope to be wealthy. They know they are wealthy. They do not work to create wealth. They work from the consciousness of wealth. They do not struggle to attract money. Money flows to them because they have become a magnet for it through their state of being. But here's where most people make the fatal mistake that keeps them trapped in poverty forever. They try to change their circumstances instead of changing this one thing. The thing they must change is their self-concept. Your self-concept is the sum total of all the beliefs you hold about yourself. It is your answer to the question, who am I? If you believe you are someone who must work hard to earn money, you will always find yourself working hard for money. If you believe you are someone who struggles financially, you will always find evidence of financial struggle. If you believe you are limited by your circumstances will always limit you. But if you believe, truly believe, that you are wealthy, that abundance is your natural state, that money flows to you easily and consistently, then this must become your experience. How do you change your self-concept? Through the practice of assumption. You must assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. You must live in the consciousness of what you want to be, not what you currently appear to be. Every night, as you prepare for sleep, imagine yourself as the wealthy person you want to become. Feel what it feels like to have complete financial freedom. Sense the peace, the security, the joy of abundance. Make it so real in your imagination that it becomes more real than your current circumstances. Now I'm going to share with you the exact technique that has created more millionaires than any business strategy or investment plan ever could. But you must promise me you'll actually use it. The technique is this: revision of your financial story. Right now, you have a story about money. Perhaps it's a story of struggle, of never having enough, of having to work hard for every dollar. This story is not serving you. It is, in fact, imprisoning you. Tonight, I want you to revise this story. In your imagination, go back to your earliest memories about money. Revise them. See yourself as always having enough, as naturally attracting wealth, as being blessed with abundance. Then revise your present circumstances. In your imagination, see your bank account with the balance you desire. Feel the satisfaction of financial security. Sense the freedom that comes with abundance. Do this consistently, persistently, and with feeling, and you will be amazed at how quickly your outer world begins to conform to your inner vision. Now you might ask, but Neville, don't I need to take action? Don't I need to work? My friends, I am not advocating laziness. I am advocating intelligent effort. When you work from the consciousness of wealth, your actions become inspired, effortless, and effective. You find yourself in the right place at the right time. Opportunities appear, doors open, people help you. But when you work from the consciousness of lack, your efforts become desperate, forced, and ultimately futile. You work harder and harder while getting further and further away from your goal. Let me share with you the one question that separates the wealthy from the poor. It's so simple, yet so profound, that it will change your life forever. The question is this: what would I do if I were already wealthy? Not, what do I need to do to become wealthy? But what would I do if I were already wealthy? The wealthy person asks this question naturally because they already see themselves as wealthy. They make decisions from the consciousness of abundance, not from the consciousness of lack. This brings me to one of the most important principles I can share with you. Live from the end. Do not live from your current circumstances. Do not live from your past experiences. Do not live from your fears and limitations. Live from the end, from the assumption that you already are what you want to become. If you want to be wealthy, live as if you already are wealthy. Make decisions as a wealthy person would make them. Think thoughts that wealthy people think. Feel feelings that wealthy people feel. This is not pretense. This is creation. You are not pretending to be wealthy. You are becoming wealthy by assuming the consciousness of wealth. Let me share with you the most powerful wealth-building secret I've ever discovered. It's so counterintuitive that most people will never believe it, but those who do will never be poor again. The secret is this: wealth is not something you get, it's something you are. You do not become wealthy by accumulating money. You accumulate money by becoming wealthy in consciousness. The money is merely the external expression of your internal state. This is why people who win the lottery often end up broke again. They never changed their consciousness. They got the money, but they never became wealthy. And this is why some people seem to create wealth effortlessly over and over again. Even when they lose everything, they have become wealthy in consciousness, and the external world must conform to their internal state. For the next 30 days, live as if you are already wealthy, not in your actions necessarily, but in your consciousness. Assume the feeling of wealth. Think from wealth. Feel from wealth. Be wealthy in your imagination until it becomes real in your experience. Remember, my friends, imagination is not an escape from reality. Imagination is reality. The world you see around you is nothing more than the outpicturing of human imagination. Change your imagination, and you change your world. Now let me share with you another profound truth that will deepen your understanding. Money, like everything else in this universe, is energy in motion. It has what we might call a vibrational quality, a frequency that attracts like unto itself. When you worry about money, when you stress about bills, when you feel anxiety about your financial future, you are broadcasting a signal of lack. And the universe, which is nothing more than your own consciousness pushed out, responds by sending you more experiences that match that signal of lack. But when you feel abundant, when you feel wealthy, when you feel secure and at peace with your financial life, you broadcast a completely different signal. You become a magnet for wealth because you are vibrating at the frequency of wealth. And here's something that will shock you. Most people are actually repelling money while desperately trying to attract it. They're doing one thing that guarantees poverty, and they don't even realize it. What they're doing is this: they're focusing on the absence of money rather than the presence of it. They're thinking about debt instead of abundance. They're worried about what they don't have instead of appreciating what they do have. This is a fundamental misunderstanding of how creation works. You cannot create from a place of lack. You cannot attract abundance while focusing on scarcity. You cannot manifest wealth while feeling poor. Let me be very specific about what I mean by feeling wealthy. I'm not talking about fake enthusiasm or forced positivity. I'm talking about a deep, settled knowing that you are provided for, that you are abundant, that money flows to you easily and naturally. This feeling might come to you when you're walking in nature and you suddenly feel connected to the infinite abundance of the universe. It might come when you're genuinely grateful for what you already have. It might come when you realize that you've always been taken care of, that somehow, some way, your needs have always been met. When you find this feeling, this genuine feeling of abundance, hold on to it, cultivate it, return to it again and again, make it your dominant emotional state. Now here's where many people struggle. They assume the feeling of wealth, they imagine their desires fulfilled, but then they try to force their good to come. They become impatient. They look for it desperately. They worry about how it will manifest. My friends, you must learn the art of allowing. Once you have planted the seed in consciousness, once you have assumed the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you must allow it to grow. You must trust the process. You must know that it is already done. The wealthiest people I've known all share one surprising trait. It's not what you think, and it's probably the opposite of what you've been taught about success. The trait is this: they don't chase money. They don't desperately seek opportunities. They don't anxiously check their bank accounts every day. Instead, they feel wealthy first, and then they allow wealth to flow to them. They understand that desperation repels what you want, while confidence attracts it. They know that when you chase something, you are affirming that you don't have it. But when you feel as though you already have it, you naturally attract more of it. Let me share with you one of the most powerful techniques for shifting into the consciousness of wealth. The practice of appreciation. Right now, regardless of your circumstances, there are things in your life that represent abundance. Perhaps it's the air you breathe, free and unlimited. Perhaps it's the water that flows from your tap, clean and available. Perhaps it's the food in your refrigerator, the roof over your head, the clothes on your back. Begin to genuinely appreciate these things. Feel grateful for them. Recognize them as evidence of your abundance. When you appreciate what you have, you align yourself with the energy of abundance, and more abundance must flow to you. This is not a trick or a technique. This is a fundamental law of consciousness. What you appreciate, appreciates. What you focus on with gratitude expands in your experience. Now I'm going to reveal the number one mistake that keeps people trapped in financial struggle for their entire lives. Even people who understand these principles often make this devastating error. The mistake is this: they try to manifest money to solve their problems instead of manifesting from a place of already feeling solved. They say, when I have money, then I'll feel secure. But the law of consciousness says, when you feel secure, then you'll have money. They say, when I'm wealthy, then I'll be happy. But the truth is, when you're happy, then you'll be wealthy. They say, when I have abundance, then I'll be generous. But the principle is, when you're generous, then you'll have abundance. You see, my friends, the feeling must come first. The consciousness must change before the circumstances change. This brings me to one of the most transformative practices you can adopt: living in a constant state of gratitude for your wealth, before you see it in your physical experience. Every morning, wake up and feel grateful for your financial abundance. Thank the universe for the money that is flowing to you. Appreciate the wealth that is already yours in consciousness. Feel blessed by your prosperity. Do this not as a technique to get something, but as a recognition of what already is. In consciousness, you are already wealthy. In imagination, you already have everything you desire. Your gratitude is simply an acknowledgement of this truth. And here's the secret that separates those who manifest money quickly from those who struggle for years. It's all about this one invisible shift that changes everything. The shift is from wanting to having, from seeking to being, from becoming to already being. Most people live in a constant state of wanting. They want more money, they want financial security, they want abundance. But wanting implies lack. When you want something, you are affirming that you don't have it. But when you shift into the consciousness of having, when you feel wealthy now, when you live as though you already have what you desire, you align yourself with the frequency of abundance. Now let me share with you another profound realization. Wealth flows most easily to those who expect it to come easily. If you believe that making money must be hard, that you must struggle and sacrifice to be wealthy, then that will be your experience. But if you believe that wealth is your natural state, that money flows to you effortlessly, that abundance is as natural as breathing, then this becomes your reality. The universe is always saying yes to your beliefs. It never argues with your assumptions. If you assume wealth is difficult, the universe will make it difficult. If you assume wealth is easy, the universe will make it easy. I'm about to share with you the most counterintuitive wealth principle of all. It goes against everything society teaches, but it's the key to unlimited abundance. The principle is this: the less you need money, the more it comes to you. When you desperately need money, when you're anxious about it, when you're constantly worried about your finances, you create resistance to its flow. Your need creates a vibration of lack that repels what you want. But when you feel abundant regardless of your bank account, when you feel secure regardless of your circumstances, when you feel wealthy regardless of your current financial situation, you remove all resistance to money's flow. This doesn't mean being irresponsible with money. It means being emotionally free from the need for money while still appreciating and enjoying it. My friends, I want you to understand that life is a game, a beautiful, magnificent game of creation. Money is simply one of the tokens in this game. When you understand this, you can play the game with joy rather than desperation, with confidence rather than fear, with creativity rather than limitation. The wealthy understand this game. They know that money is just energy, and energy always flows to where it's welcomed and appreciated. They know that abundance is not about having a certain amount in the bank. It's about feeling abundant regardless of the numbers. When you truly embody wealth consciousness, something beautiful happens. Not only does your financial situation improve, but every area of your life begins to flourish. Your relationships become richer, your health improves, your creativity expands, your joy increases. This is because wealth consciousness is really abundance consciousness. And abundance consciousness affects everything in your experience. When you know yourself to be abundant, you experience abundance in all forms. Before we conclude, let me give you the ultimate test of whether you've truly understood what I've shared today. There's one simple question that will reveal everything. The question is this: how do you feel about money right now, in this moment? If you feel anxious, worried, desperate, or fearful about money, you are operating from the consciousness of lack, and no amount of hard work will permanently change your circumstances. But if you feel peaceful, grateful, confident, and abundant about money, you are operating from the consciousness of wealth, and your external circumstances must eventually reflect this internal state. Let me give you a specific daily practice that will transform your relationship with money. Each morning, before you get out of bed, spend 5 minutes feeling grateful for your wealth. Don't focus on what you want to have. Focus on what you already have in consciousness. Feel the peace of financial security. Sense the joy of abundance. Experience the freedom of wealth. Throughout the day, whenever you handle money, whether you're paying a bill, making a purchase, or receiving payment, do so with gratitude and appreciation. See each transaction as a circulation of abundance, not a loss of resources. Before sleep each night, imagine your bank account with the balance you desire. But don't strain or effort to make this happen. Simply enjoy the feeling of having what you want. Fall asleep in the consciousness of wealth. And here's something that will amaze you. When you operate from genuine abundance consciousness, money doesn't just come to you, it multiplies. Opportunities appear that you never could have imagined. People want to give you money. Investments grow beyond expectation. Ideas become profitable ventures. This is because abundance consciousness is creative consciousness. When you feel abundant, you think abundantly. When you think abundantly, you act abundantly. When you act abundantly, you create abundantly. And if you truly understand what I've shared with you today, you'll never work hard to be wealthy again. You'll work from wealth, not for wealth. You'll attract abundance instead of chasing it. You'll become a magnet for money instead of a slave to it. But more than that, you'll understand that wealth is not really about money at all. True wealth is the consciousness of abundance. True wealth is the knowledge that you are provided for, that you are blessed, that you are one with the source of all good. When you have this consciousness, money becomes simply one of the many ways that abundance expresses itself in your life. You may have money, or you may not, but you will always feel wealthy because you will know yourself to be wealthy. The choice is yours, my friends. You can continue to work hard and remain poor, or you can work smart and become wealthy. You can continue to live from your circumstances, or you can live from your imagination. You can continue to chase money, or you can allow money to flow to you. The power is within you. It always has been. It always will be. The question is, will you use it? Your current financial situation is not a reflection of your worth, your capabilities, or your potential. It is simply a reflection of your past thinking, your past beliefs, your past consciousness. But your future financial situation will be a reflection of your present consciousness, your present beliefs, your present thinking. Change your consciousness, and you change your world. Assume the feeling of wealth, and wealth must be your experience. Live from the end, and the end becomes your beginning. Go now, and assume the consciousness of wealth. Feel it, live it, breathe it, until it becomes as natural to you as breathing itself. And remember, you are not limited by your circumstances unless you believe you are. You are not poor unless you assume you are. You are not bound by your past unless you choose to be. You are the creator of your experience. Create wisely, create abundantly, create wealth. The world is waiting for your success. Go claim it. And remember, my friends, that wealth is not a destination. It is a way of being. It is not something you achieve. It is something you are. It is not something you get. It is something you give through the very nature of your abundant consciousness. Be wealthy now, in this moment, in your consciousness, and watch as the universe rearranges itself to reflect this truth back to you in ways more beautiful and abundant than you ever dared to imagine. The time is now. The place is here. The person is you. Go forth and prosper.
Listen to me. Everything you've been told about men and love is a lie. You think men fall in love because of beauty? No. Because of sex? No. Because of effort? Still no. Men don't fall in love when they sleep with you. Men don't fall in love when you're always there proving your worth. Men fall in love when they feel something they don't feel anywhere else. Let me say that again. Men fall in love when a woman makes them feel something they can't find in the world. Not validation, not desperation, not control, but a force so rare it shakes them. A man falls in love when he sees you as the one person who makes him feel understood, but not chased, desired, but not suffocated. He falls in love when he knows deep in his gut that you are a woman who could walk away if he doesn't show up fully. Because here's the truth. Men don't value what's handed to them on a silver platter. They value what they have to earn. A man falls in love when he realizes you're not like the rest. You're not waiting by the phone. You're not begging for attention. You're in your own world, thriving, growing, living, and that's when he wakes up. That's when he sees what's in front of him. That's when he falls. Because love isn't about being everything to a man. It's about being the one thing he's afraid to lose. Now, are you that woman, or are you still playing small? Men don't fall in love the way you think they do. They don't fall in love because you're beautiful. They don't fall in love because you're always there, answering their calls, making them feel important. They don't even fall in love because you give them everything they want. That's the lie you've been sold. That's the illusion that's keeping you stuck, confused, wondering why he pulls away, why he loses interest, why he doesn't feel the same way you do. A man falls in love when he feels something he cannot find anywhere else. Not validation, not comfort, not control. He falls in love when he experiences an emotion so deep, so electrifying that it shakes him. It's a force that is bigger than logic, bigger than attraction, bigger than anything he understands. It's not a choice. It's an instinct. Everywhere he goes, the world is filled with expectations. Be successful. Be strong. Be the provider. Be the man. And so he moves through life with a mask, hiding his truth, playing the role the world expects him to play. He meets women who adore him, who admire him, who try to prove they're worthy of his love, and still something is missing. Something feels off. He can't explain it. He can't put it into words. But then, one day he meets a woman who doesn't just see him, she makes him feel. It's not because she gives him attention. It's not because she flatters him. It's not because she follows all the rules of how to make a man love you. It's because in her presence, something awakens in him, a depth he has forgotten, a hunger he didn't know existed. She makes him feel seen, but not in a way that makes him comfortable, in a way that makes him question himself. She challenges him without even trying. She moves through life with a force so undeniable that he has no choice but to notice. And that moment when his world shifts, when something inside of him stirs, that is when a man begins to fall. You see, love is not about logic. It is not about effort. It is not about checking all the right boxes. Love, real love, is about emotional impact. A man can have the most beautiful, devoted woman in the world and still not fall. Not because she isn't enough, but because she doesn't trigger the depth of emotion he needs to feel that pull, that fire, that undeniable knowing that he cannot let her go. When a man falls in love, it's not because he makes a decision to love. It's because something inside of him doesn't give him a choice. It's because when he's with her, the world feels different. The air is different. The silence is different. He is different. And he doesn't even understand why. He just knows he needs more of it. But here's the hard truth. Most women never get to that place. Not because they aren't amazing, but because they are too busy trying to be what they think a man wants. They play the role. They shrink themselves. They say the right things. They overgive. They overcommit. They over-explain. They try to love him into loving them, and in doing so, they strip away the very thing that would make him fall. A man does not fall in love with a woman who hands him her soul on a silver platter. He does not fall in love with convenience. He does not fall in love with predictability. He falls in love with the one thing he can't control, the one thing he can't explain, the one thing he knows deep in his bones he will never find again. And that woman? She doesn't chase. She doesn't beg. She doesn't need to prove anything. She is the experience. She is the storm. She is the moment he realizes he is no longer in control. And when that happens, he will do anything to make sure he never loses her. A man does not value what comes too easily. He does not cherish what he didn't have to fight for. If you hand him your love on a silver platter, if you bend over backwards to prove your worth, if you rearrange your life just to fit into his, he won't see it as a blessing. He'll see it as something that costs him nothing. And anything that costs nothing is taken for granted. Think about it. The things people value most in life, the things they fight for, bleed for, sweat for, are the things they had to earn: success, respect, power, even love. When something is handed to you without effort, it loses its significance. That's human nature. And men, they are wired to pursue, to chase, to conquer. That's not just some cliche. It's biology, psychology, and reality. A man doesn't truly fall for the woman who is always available, always giving, always proving. He falls for the woman who makes him step up, who makes him realize that if he doesn't show up fully, he could lose her. That's the woman who makes his heart race. That's the woman who makes him rethink everything. Because here's the truth. Nobody tells you when you give too much, too soon, too easily, you strip away the very thing that makes a man desire you. It's not because he's cruel. It's not because he wants to hurt you. It's because he is wired to value what he has to work for. If he doesn't have to earn your love, your time, your presence, he won't feel the same intensity for you. And I know what you're thinking, but I'm just being kind. I'm just showing him I care. I just want to make him happy. That's the mistake, because in your mind, love means giving. Love means effort. Love means showing up for someone fully. But in a man's mind, love means something different. It means wanting. It means pursuing. It means feeling like he might lose you if he doesn't give you his all. So many women think they have to do more, be more, give more to make a man love them. They think if they just show him how amazing they are, he'll wake up one day and realize he's in love. But that's not how it works. A man doesn't fall in love with effort. He falls in love with the feeling that he might lose something he deeply desires. Look around. The relationships that last, the love that is unbreakable, the women who are cherished beyond words, they are not the women who gave everything away for free. They are the women who made a man rise to the occasion, who made him show up, who made him prove to himself and to her that he was willing to go all in. Because when a man has to earn you, he sees you differently. You are not just another option. You are not just another woman who is there for convenience. You are the rare jewel, the one thing he knows he cannot replace. And that is what makes a man stay. Not guilt, not obligation, not comfort, but the deep, undeniable understanding that you are valuable and he had to fight to have you. And when a man fights for something, when he invests in it, when he has to step up and give his best, that's when he treasures it. That's when he holds it close. That's when he makes sure with everything in him that he never loses it. A man does not fall in love with the woman who needs him. He falls in love with the woman who doesn't. The woman who is so full of life, so consumed by her own passions, so deeply rooted in who she is, that his presence is a privilege, not a requirement. The woman who walks into a room and owns it, not because she's trying, but because her energy is undeniable. The woman who doesn't seek approval, who doesn't beg for attention, who doesn't bend herself into something smaller just to fit into his world, that is the woman who captures his soul. Men don't chase women who are just standing still, waiting to be chosen. They chase the women who are already in motion, already moving towards something greater than love itself. A man sees a woman who is independent, who is thriving, who is so completely whole within herself, and he feels something rare, respect. And that respect turns into admiration, and that admiration turns into desire. And that desire, that's what makes him fall. Because here's what nobody tells you: love is not about filling a void. It's not about fixing loneliness. It's not about needing someone to complete you. A man does not want to be your savior. He does not want to be the reason you exist. He does not fall for the woman who makes him her entire world. He falls for the woman who has a world of her own, because that world is what makes her magnetic. That world is what makes him crave her. And that's the mistake so many women make. They meet a man, they start to like him, and suddenly everything becomes about him. Their schedule bends for him, their time revolves around him, their happiness depends on him. And at first he might enjoy it. He might even soak it up. But deep down, something shifts. The excitement fades. The challenge disappears. The energy that pulled him in, it's gone. Because he no longer feels like he's stepping into something extraordinary. He feels like he's being handed something that requires no effort, no risk, no risking. A man does not value what is given to him freely. He values what he has to earn. And a woman who is confident, who is independent, who is completely in love with her own life, that is a woman he knows he has to work for. That is a woman he knows is not waiting by the phone, not hoping for his attention, not desperate for his love. That is a woman he knows could walk away if he doesn't show up as the man she deserves. And that realization, that is what makes him step up. That is what makes him put in the effort. That is what makes him look at her and say, I can't lose this. Because men do not fall in love with women they can have without effort. They fall in love with women who make them better, who make them chase, who make them rise to a higher standard. And when a woman has that energy, that unshakable confidence, that presence that says, I am enough with or without you, a man has no choice but to see her differently. She is not an option. She is not a temporary thrill. She is not replaceable. She is the rarest thing he has ever encountered. And the thought of losing her, that is what makes him fall. Because he knows deep in his soul that a woman like her doesn't come twice. A man doesn't fall in love because you love him. He doesn't fall in love because you give him your time, your body, your loyalty. He doesn't fall in love because you're always there, always available, always ready to do whatever it takes to make him happy. A man falls in love when he realizes deep in his gut that you are the one thing he cannot afford to lose. The moment that fear hits him, the moment he understands that you are not a woman who waits, who begs, who pleads, that's when everything changes. Because here's the brutal truth. A man does not commit to something he isn't afraid to lose. If he knows you will always be there no matter what, if he knows you will always forgive, always compromise, always stay even when he gives you the bare minimum, he will never give you his all. Not because he's a bad person, not because he doesn't care, but because human nature doesn't work that way. We do not treasure what we think will always be there. We treasure what we know is rare, what we know could slip through our fingers if we don't hold on tight, and that's the mistake so many women make. They think being irreplaceable means being the most loving, the most giving, the most understanding. They think if they show him unconditional love, he will wake up one day and realize she's the best thing that ever happened to him. But that's not how it works. A man doesn't fall in love with comfort. He falls in love with the fear of losing something extraordinary. He falls in love when he knows without a doubt that if he doesn't step up, if he doesn't give you his best, you won't stick around just because you love him. He has to feel that his place in your life is not guaranteed. He has to feel that if he stops showing up, if he stops putting in the effort, if he starts treating you like an afterthought, you will not wait for him to wake up. He has to know that you are not a woman who tolerates half love, half effort, half commitment. That realization shakes a man. It wakes him up. It makes him see you in a way he has never seen any woman before. Not as a convenience, not as someone who is just there, but as a force he cannot afford to lose. A man does not fall in love with a woman who sacrifices herself for him. He falls in love with the woman who knows her worth so deeply that she refuses to settle for anything less than a man who is all in. The woman who knows that love is not about waiting, not about hoping, not about proving. Love is about mutual effort, mutual respect, mutual desire. The woman who understands that the right man will never put her in a position where she has to beg for his time, his affection, his commitment. And that's where the power is. Not in trying to be good enough for him, not in proving that you're the perfect woman, not in doing everything right. The power is in being the woman who chooses herself first. The woman who knows that walking away is an option. The woman who does not cling to a man who won't fight for her. Because when a man sees that, when he feels that, when he knows that you are a woman who will not lower her standards just to keep him around, he has no choice but to step up. He has no choice but to fall, because the truth is, men don't fall in love with women who stay no matter what. They fall in love with the women they can't imagine their life without. The women they respect. The women they know they have to work for. The women who don't just give their love away, but make sure it's being received by a man who deserves it. That's what makes a man afraid to lose you. And that fear, that's what makes him love you in a way he has never loved before.
Imagine possessing a superpower so potent it could create life, fuel your dreams, and unlock the secrets of the universe. Now imagine flushing it down the toilet daily. Sounds dumb, right? Well, that's exactly what you're doing every time you masturbate. Take a deep breath. Feel that energy coursing through you? That's your life force, your power, and you're squandering it. For what? A fleeting moment of pleasure? Masturbation isn't just a harmless habit, it's actively killing your spirit. Uncomfortable? Good. Growth happens at the edge of discomfort. Grow up. Ask yourself, are you truly living up to your full potential? Are you as energized, focused, and spiritually connected as possible? If not, what you're about to hear might just revolutionize your life. This isn't about morality or religion. It's about tapping into ancient wisdom that modern science is only beginning to grasp. It's about reclaiming your power and unleashing your true potential. In Taoist philosophy, they speak of Jing, your body's most precious essence. Think of it as the oil in your car's engine. Every ejaculation depletes this essence, this life force energy. The ancient Taoists believed that 100 drops of blood were required to create 1 drop of semen. That's how valuable they considered this fluid. But ejaculating is natural. You're probably thinking, well, it's not natural, you're in a mental paradigm. You've been caught in a construct, conditioned to believe that it's natural to self-pleasure and to ejaculation, and even if it was natural, we all know the consequences of overindulgence. You can't ascend to your highest self while constantly indulging your lowest impulses. It's like trying to climb a mountain while digging a hole beneath your feet. Let me get specific about what you're losing with each ejaculation. Semen is a complex fluid containing over 200 separate proteins, as well as vitamins B12, C and E, zinc, calcium, citric acid, fructose, and other nutrients. You're literally expelling life-giving substances from your body that are meant to be used to create a human baby. This is not rhetoric, this is a fact. But it's not just about the physical components, it's about the energy, the potential, the very essence of creation that you're carelessly tossing away. Every time you masturbate, you're choosing momentary pleasure over long-term power and vitality. Think about the most successful, charismatic people you know. Have you ever noticed an aura of magnetism around them? That's the power of retained sexual energy. When you stop wasting this energy, you start radiating a charisma that attracts success, opportunities, and deep connections. For the skeptics, I'll explain the science. 1. Frequent masturbation desensitizes dopamine receptors, numbing you to life's joys. This isn't just about sex, it affects your ability to feel pleasure and motivation in all areas of life. You're essentially giving yourself a form of anhedonia, the inability to feel pleasure. 2. Ejaculation lowers testosterone, crucial for energy, motivation, and cognitive function. Studies have shown that abstaining from ejaculation for 7 days can increase serum testosterone levels by 145.7%. Imagine what that could do for your energy levels, your mental clarity, and your drive to achieve your goals. 3. Porn-induced erectile dysfunction is a growing concern, rewiring brains to respond to pixels instead of people. This isn't just affecting your sex life, it's changing the way your brain processes reward and pleasure, potentially impacting your ability to form deep, meaningful relationships. 4. Research has shown that semen retention can increase androgen receptors in the brain. This means your body becomes more responsive to the testosterone you have, amplifying its positive effects. 5. Abstaining from ejaculation has been linked to increased spinal cord reflex excitability. In simpler terms, this means improved physical performance and faster reflexes. Now, let me tell you about injaculation, the practice of experiencing orgasm without ejaculation. Yes, orgasm is separate from ejaculation. This isn't just some new age concept. It's rooted in ancient Taoist sexual practices and is gaining recognition in modern sexology. Research and our own experience tells us that ejaculation will lead to increased energy levels. By retaining the nutrients and life force in semen, you're keeping that energy in your body. Improved prostate health. Contrary to popular belief, regular ejaculation isn't necessary for prostate health. Ejaculation allows for the benefits of orgasm without the loss of vital fluids. Remember, those fluids are needed to create life. Imagine all the vital life essence within what you habitually eject. Enhanced sexual stamina. As you master control over your ejaculatory reflex, you naturally last longer during sexual activities. More intense orgasms. Many practitioners report whole-body orgasms that far surpass the brief pleasure of ejaculatory orgasms. Spiritual awakening. As you learn to circulate sexual energy through your body, you may experience heightened states of consciousness and spiritual insights. Imagine channeling all that conserved energy into your goals, dreams, and spiritual growth. Don't forget what you're here to do. But it's not just about the benefits of retention, it's about what you're avoiding. Every time you ejaculate, you're depleting your body of zinc, selenium, and other crucial nutrients. You're flooding your system with prolactin, which suppresses dopamine. You're triggering a refractory period where your body and mind are less capable and less energized. Now let's talk about the spiritual essence behind this. In tantric traditions, sexual energy is the key to higher consciousness, the fuel for kundalini awakening. But instead of raising this energy to enlighten your mind, you're spilling it out, dimming your light. The Vigyan Bhairav Tantra, an ancient text of 112 meditation techniques, includes several practices focused on using sexual energy for spiritual awakening. One such technique instructs, at the start of sexual union, keep attentive on the fire in the beginning, and so continuing, avoid the embers in the end. This is about maintaining awareness and circulating energy rather than losing it through ejaculation. Do you often feel lost, struggling to find purpose or deep connections? Like I've been saying, you're constantly depleting the very energy needed for spiritual growth. Your sexual energy isn't just about reproduction or pleasure, it's the most potent creative force you possess. It's the energy that can fuel your deepest inspirations, your most enlightening insights, and your highest achievements. It helps you unfold into the real you. This isn't about repression, it's about mastery. Let me say that again. It's not about repression, it's about mastery. Think. Your sexual energy is like an oil well. Will you let it gush out wastefully or refine it to power your entire life? Here's a roadmap for you. You're welcome to walk this path alongside us. 1. Question every urge. Is this the best use of my creative energy? When you feel the impulse to masturbate, pause. Take a deep breath. Ask yourself what you could create or achieve if you channeled this energy differently. 2. See your sexual energy as sacred. Your body is a temple. Treat it as such. Start viewing your sexuality not as a source of quick pleasure, but as a wellspring of vitality and creative power. 3. Transmute the energy. Channel it into exercise, art, or passion projects. When sexual energy arises, try redirecting it. Do some push-ups, stretches, deep breath work, handstands. Work on that business plan. You'll be amazed at how this energy can fuel your vision. Think, feel. 4. Meditate. Learn to circulate this energy throughout your body. Try this. Sit comfortably, close your eyes, and visualize your sexual energy as a warm, golden light in your pelvic area. 5. Explore tantric practices and ejaculation with a partner. Please let it be with someone who you share spiritual connections with, someone who you love. Transform your connections. Tantric sex isn't just about pleasure. It's about using sexual connection as a pathway to spiritual awakening. Start by practicing extended foreplay, synchronized breathing with your partner, and maintaining eye contact during intimacy. Practice testicular breathing. This Taoist technique involves using breath and visualization to draw energy from your testicles up into your body. It's a powerful way to cultivate and circulate sexual energy. Again, research this specific thing and don't forget the name, testicular breathing. 7. Engage in regular physical exercise. This helps to circulate the conserved sexual energy throughout your body, preventing stagnation and promoting overall vitality. Physical exercise can be things like hatha yoga and qigong as well. Here's a provocative thought. Perhaps the powers that be want you to keep masturbating. A population drained of vital energy, numbed by dopamine hits, is easier to control. Let this bubble in your brain for a minute. In a world that constantly bombards you with sexual imagery and promotes instant gratification, choosing to retain and cultivate your sexual energy is a radical act of self-empowerment. Let me say that again. In a world saturated with sexual imagery and the lure of instant gratification, choosing to retain and cultivate your sexual energy becomes an act of self-empowerment. Think. I'm not here to dictate your actions. I'm here to make you question everything. To make you think deeply about how your choices shape your reality. Every time you choose to masturbate, you're making a decision about who you want to be and what you want to achieve in life. Here's your challenge: 30 days without masturbation. Retain your energy and transmute it into something higher. Journal your experiences, mood, energy levels, mental clarity, spiritual insights. Pay attention to how your interactions with others change, how your productivity increases, and how your dreams become more vivid. You will struggle. You will get pushed back, and that's okay. The awareness itself is transformative. Each time you resist the urge, you're building willpower, you're reclaiming your power, and you're choosing your higher self over momentary pleasure. If you make it through those 30 days, you'll never see yourself the same way again. You'll tap into a wellspring of power you never knew existed. You will experience increased confidence and charisma, enhanced mental clarity and focus, more vivid dreams and intuitive insights, greater physical vitality and faster recovery from exercise, a magnetic attraction that draws people and opportunities to you, deeper, more fulfilling connections with partners, a sense of purpose and spiritual connection. Remember, this isn't about counting days. The 30 days are just a benchmark, nothing to brag about in the comments section. It's really about a lifestyle change, a paradigm shift leading to a permanent perceptive upgrade. Semen retention doesn't mean no sex, it means mastering your sexual energy. Research ejaculation techniques. Learn more about Taoist and Tantric practices. This is a journey of self-discovery and empowerment. You are not your body. You're not your urges. You are a spiritual being with infinite potential. It's time to stop leaking your power and start embodying it. It's time to reclaim the energy that's rightfully yours and use it to fuel your evolution. Are you ready to reclaim your energy? To stop killing your spirit and start fueling your ascension? To step into your full power as a man? The choice is yours. But remember, every decision either feeds your spirit or starves it. Every time you choose to retain your semen, you're choosing empowerment over weakness, creation over waste, ascension over stagnation. The power is in your hands, literally. What are you going to do with it? Comment below if you know you've been depleting these vitamins and nutrients.
Good evening, my dear friends. Tonight, I want to talk to you about something that will sound completely backwards to everything you've been taught. Tonight, I want to talk to you about the power of doing nothing. Not the nothing of laziness, not the nothing of giving up, but the nothing of completion, the nothing of rest, the nothing that creates everything. You see, we live in a world obsessed with doing. Do more, try harder, take massive action, hustle, grind, push, force. And so people exhaust themselves in the pursuit of their desires. They run themselves ragged trying to make things happen, trying to force reality to bend to their will, trying to prove through their endless doing that they are worthy of what they want. And still, after all that effort, after all that striving, their desires remain just out of reach. But I'm here to tell you tonight that there is another way. A way that requires no effort, a way that demands no struggle, a way so simple, so radical, so profoundly restful, that most people cannot accept it, because they cannot believe that something so effortless could possibly work. I'm talking about the sacred art of non-doing, the power of radical inner stillness, the creative force of conscious rest. Now, when I say non-doing, I do not mean inaction. I do not mean sitting on your couch waiting for miracles to fall from the sky. I do not mean abandoning your responsibilities or refusing to participate in life. What I mean is something far deeper, far more powerful than mere physical inaction. I mean the inner cessation of all striving, the inner end of all resistance, the inner knowing that the work is already complete, and therefore there is nothing left to do. This is the great paradox that Christ taught when he said, "My yoke is easy and my burden is light." How can the path to manifestation be easy? How can it be light? Because it is not a path of doing, it is a path of being, and being requires no effort. Being simply is. When you are something in consciousness, you do not need to try to become it. You do not need to work toward it. You do not need to earn it or deserve it, or prove yourself worthy of it. You simply rest in the state of already being it, and reality must conform to that inner conviction. Let me tell you what I mean. There was a time when I wanted something desperately. I wanted it so badly I could taste it. And so I did what most people do. I took action. I made plans. I strategized and schemed and worked myself into exhaustion trying to make it happen. And the more I did, the more elusive my desire became. It was as if the universe was playing a cruel game with me, dangling what I wanted just beyond my reach, no matter how hard I stretched toward it. Then one evening, completely exhausted, I simply gave up, not in defeat, not in despair, but in a kind of sacred surrender. I stopped doing. I stopped trying. I stopped reaching. And I sat in perfect stillness, and asked myself a simple question. What would it feel like if I already had what I desire? Not someday. Not when I finally earned it. Now. Right now. In this moment. What would it feel like? And in that stillness, something miraculous happened. I felt it. I felt the relief of having. I felt the peace of completion. I felt the absolute normalcy of my desire being fulfilled. And in that feeling, all my striving ceased. There was nothing left to do, because in consciousness, it was already done. The search was over, the work was complete. All that remained was rest. And from that rest, that sacred stillness, that state of inner non-doing, reality began to rearrange itself. Not through my effort, not through my action, but through some mysterious intelligence that operates when we finally get out of the way. Opportunities appeared. Circumstances shifted. People came into my life at exactly the right moment. And before long, what I had experienced in that moment of stillness had materialized in my world. Not because I made it happen, because I allowed it to happen by finally stopping my interference. This is what I mean by the paradox of doing. The greatest doing is non-doing. The most powerful action is conscious rest. Because when you rest in the fulfilled state, when you cease all inner striving and simply abide in the feeling of already having what you desire, you are not being passive. You are being creative in the highest sense. You are impressing upon consciousness the pattern that must appear in your world. And consciousness, being the only creative power there is, must harden that impression into fact. But most people cannot rest. They cannot be still. They are addicted to doing. Because doing makes them feel like they are in control. Doing makes them feel like they are earning their desires. Like they are worthy of what they want. Like they are actively participating in their own salvation. But I'm telling you, all that doing is interference. All that striving is resistance. All that effort is actually preventing the very thing you want from coming to you. Think about it. When you are constantly doing, constantly trying, constantly working toward your desire, what state are you in? You are in the state of not having. You are in the state of separation. You are in the state of lack, and consciousness does not respond to your actions. Consciousness responds to your state. If your state is one of lack, of not yetness, of trying to get what you don't have, then that is what will continue to manifest in your world. More lack, more separation, more striving without a rival. But when you rest, when you cease all inner doing, when you simply abide in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, what state are you in? You are in the state of having. You are in the state of completion. You are in the state of wholeness. And from that state, reality must give you more of what you already are. Not because you worked for it, because you accepted it. Not because you earned it, because you claimed it in consciousness. This is why Scripture tells us, be still and know that I am God. Be still. Stop doing. Stop striving. Stop trying to make things happen through your limited human effort. And in that stillness, know that the creative power of the universe, the power that causes everything to be, is within you as your own consciousness. And that power does not need your help. It does not need your struggle. It does not need your endless doing. It only needs your acceptance, your rest, your faith that in consciousness it is already done. I knew a man once who was desperate to change his financial situation. He was working 2 jobs, hustling day and night, trying every scheme and strategy he could think of to make more money. And the more he did, the more exhausted he became. And still he remained broke. His health was failing. His relationships were suffering. His entire life had become one long, grinding attempt to force prosperity into existence through sheer effort. One day I said to him, "What are you doing?" He looked at me confused. "I'm doing everything I can," he said. "I'm working myself to death, trying to make money." And I said, "Exactly. You're working yourself to death. But tell me, in all this doing, in all this endless action, what are you being? Are you being prosperous? Or are you being someone who desperately needs prosperity?" He paused. "I suppose I'm being desperate," he admitted. "I'm being someone who doesn't have enough. someone who needs to work harder to get what I want. And I said, then that is your state. That is what you are impressing upon consciousness with every frantic action, not prosperity, desperation, not abundance, lack. And consciousness, faithful servant that it is, gives you more of what you are, not what you want. I told him to stop. Stop all the desperate doing. Stop the hustle. Stop the grinding. Not forever, but just for a while. Just long enough to discover a different state of being. Tonight. I said, I want you to rest. I want you to do nothing except feel what it would feel like if you were already financially free. Not someday. Now. Feel the relief of not having to work so hard. Feel the ease of having enough. Feel the calm confidence of someone for whom money is not a struggle. And rest in that feeling. Let that be your only work. He was skeptical. How could doing nothing create money? How could resting produce results? But he was also exhausted enough to try anything. So that night he stopped doing. He stopped planning and strategizing and working. He simply rested in the feeling of financial freedom. He felt what it would feel like to wake up without anxiety about bills. He felt what it would feel like to check his bank account and see abundance. He felt what it would feel like to be someone for whom prosperity was normal, natural, effortless. And he fell asleep in that state of rest. Within days something shifted. An old friend called with a business opportunity he never could have planned for. A debt he thought was permanent was suddenly forgiven. Money came from unexpected places. Not through his doing, through his non-doing. Through his rest in the fulfilled state. Through his acceptance in consciousness that prosperity was already his. This is the great secret that the mystics knew, that the scriptures teach, that Christ demonstrated over and over again. Creation is finished. The work is already done. In consciousness, all things already exist in their perfect, completed form. Your desire is not something you need to create. It already exists. Your only work is to rest in the state where you have accepted it as yours. This is the meaning of the Sabbath. The Sabbath is not a day of the week. The Sabbath is the state of rest that comes from knowing creation is complete. God did not rest because he was tired. God rested because the work was finished. And you must learn to rest the same way, not because you've done enough, not because you've earned the right to rest, but because in consciousness, the work is already finished. Your desire is already fulfilled. There is nothing left to do except accept it, feel it, and rest in it. But here is where most people stumble. They hear this teaching, and they think it means they should sit around doing nothing while waiting for their desires to appear. They become passive. They become lazy. They confuse non-doing with inaction. But that is not what I mean at all. Non-doing is not about your outer actions. Non-doing is about your inner state. You can take action from rest. You can move and work and participate in life from the state of the wish fulfilled. In fact, when you rest in the fulfilled state, action becomes effortless. You find yourself doing exactly what needs to be done, without strain, without struggle, without that desperate pushing that comes from the state of lack. The right actions flow naturally from the right state. But those actions are not what create your desire. Those actions are simply the path through which your inner conviction externalizes. The key is to rest first, to be still first, to accept in consciousness first, and then let action, if action is needed, come from that state of rest, rather than from the state of striving. Because action from rest is inspired action. Action from rest is effortless action. Action from rest is action that feels good, that flows easily, that produces results without exhaustion. I'll tell you something else. The reason most people cannot rest is because they do not truly believe their desire is already theirs in consciousness. They still see it as something out there, something separate, something they need to work toward and earn and deserve. But consciousness is not out there. Consciousness is within. And within consciousness, all things already exist. Your desire is not separate from you. Your desire is already yours in the only place that matters, in consciousness, and consciousness is the only reality there is. When you finally understand this, when you finally accept that your desire is already yours in consciousness, and consciousness is all that exists, then rest becomes natural. then non-doing becomes effortless. Because there is nothing to do. You don't work toward what you already have. You rest in it, you enjoy it. You live from it. And the outer world, being merely a reflection of inner states, must eventually show you in form what you have already accepted in consciousness. This is why Christ said, "It is finished." Not "it will be finished when you work hard enough." Not "it will be finished when you prove yourself worthy." It is finished. Present tense. Complete. Done. In consciousness, the work is always already finished. The only question is, will you rest in that completion, or will you continue to strive, to struggle, to do and do and do until you exhaust yourself trying to create what already exists? Tonight I want you to stop. Stop all the doing. Stop all the trying. Stop all the endless action that comes from the state of lack, and instead be still. Rest, feel what it would feel like if your desire were already fulfilled. Not someday, not when you've done enough. Now, in this moment, in consciousness. And rest in that feeling. Make that your dwelling place. Let that be the state from which you live, and watch what happens. Watch as opportunities appear. Watch as circumstances rearrange themselves. Watch as the right people show up at the right time. Watch as your desire, which was always yours in consciousness, begins to materialize in your world, not through your effort, through your rest, not through your doing, through your non-doing, not through your struggle, through your acceptance. This is the paradox. The greatest doing is non-doing. The most powerful action is rest. The highest work is acceptance. Because when you rest in the fulfilled state, when you cease all inner resistance, when you simply allow consciousness to do what consciousness does naturally, which is to express itself, then manifestation is not only possible, it is inevitable. So let go of the belief that you must earn your desires through endless doing. Let go of the addiction to action that comes from the fear that if you stop doing, nothing will happen. Let go of the exhausting cycle of striving and struggling and pushing and forcing, and instead rest. Be still. Accept in consciousness that what you desire is already yours, and live from that state of completion, that state of rest, that state of the wish fulfilled. This is not passivity. This is power. This is not inaction. This is the highest action there is. This is not giving up. This is accepting what is already yours. And when you finally rest in this way, when you finally cease all doing and simply be, you will discover what the mystics have always known, that stillness creates what action cannot, that rest produces what effort never will, that non-doing is the most powerful doing there is. Thank you, and good evening. This is Best of Lectures. I will see you in the next video. Good evening, my friends. Tonight, I'm going to tell you something that will sound completely backwards, something that contradicts everything you've been taught about achieving your desires. The harder you try, the further away your manifestation becomes. I know this sounds impossible. You've been conditioned your entire life to believe that success requires effort, that you must work hard, push harder, try your best, give it everything you've got. But when it comes to manifestation, when it comes to the law of assumption, effort is not your ally. Effort is your enemy. And tonight, you're going to understand why. You're going to discover why every ounce of effort you put into manifesting is actually creating resistance that pushes your desire away. And more importantly, you're going to learn what to do instead. This is the teaching that separates true masters of consciousness from those who exhaust themselves trying to make things happen. Let me show you where you're going wrong. You wake up and decide today is the day you're going to manifest your desire. You're going to do it right. You're going to put in the work. So you spend an hour visualizing. You repeat your affirmations 50 times. You write out your desires in detail. You make a vision board. You listen to audios. You do every technique you've learned. You're trying so hard, working so diligently, putting in maximum effort, and then nothing happens. Or worse, things move in the opposite direction. You're confused, frustrated, discouraged. I did everything right, you think. I put in so much effort. Why isn't it working? But that's exactly the problem. You put in effort. Let me ask you something. When you already have something, When you truly possess it, do you put effort into having it? Do you wake up every morning and try hard to have what you already have? Do you work at having your current reality? Do you put effort into having the things that are already yours? No. You just have them. Effortlessly. Naturally. Without trying. This is the state you must be in regarding your desire. Not the state of trying to get it. Not the state of working to manifest it. But the state of already having it. And having requires no effort whatsoever. Let me show you what's really happening when you put effort into manifesting. Effort is force. And force comes from the belief that something isn't happening, something isn't working, something needs to be pushed into existence. When you're trying hard to manifest, what you're really saying, what you're really assuming is, I don't have this, it's not here yet. I need to make it happen. It won't come unless I force it. Every ounce of effort is broadcasting the frequency of lack, of separation, of not having. You think you're moving toward your desire, but you're actually affirming its absence with every action you take. Think about it. If you truly had $1 million in your bank account right now, would you be sitting there desperately visualizing it? Would you be repeating affirmations about money? Would you be trying to feel abundant? No, you would simply be abundant, without effort, without trying, without doing anything to create what's already yours. This is the paradox. The moment you try to manifest something, you're affirming that you don't have it. And that assumption, that underlying frequency of not having, is what manifests, not your desire, your lack of it. Let me explain something fundamental about how assumption actually works. An assumption is not something you do. It's something you are. When you assume something, you're not working at believing it. You're not trying to convince yourself of it. You're not putting effort into making it real. You simply accept it as fact, naturally, effortlessly. The way you accept that the sun rose this morning, or that you're sitting where you're sitting right now. Do you put effort into assuming your name? Do you work hard at assuming your current location? Do you try to believe you're breathing? No. These things are so obviously true to you that assumption is automatic, effortless, natural. This is the state you must reach regarding your desire. Not trying to believe you have it, not working to feel like you have it, but naturally, effortlessly assuming it as fact. And here's what you need to understand. You cannot effort your way into a natural assumption. Trying hard to believe something actually proves you don't believe it. Because if you truly believed it, trying would be unnecessary. This is why all your effort is working against you. Let me paint you a picture of what true manifestation looks like. Imagine someone who is genuinely wealthy. Not someone trying to manifest wealth. Someone who is wealthy. How do they think about money? They don't. Not in the way you do. They're not constantly visualizing bank accounts. They're not repeating affirmations about abundance. They're not working hard to feel rich. They simply are rich. And because they are, money is just there, available, accessible, not something they have to try to have. When they see something they want, they don't think, I need to manifest the money for this. They think, I can get that if I want. Or they don't think about it at all. They just get it. There's no effort, no force, no trying, just natural, effortless having. This is the state you must occupy regarding your desire, not the state of trying to get it, the state of already having it, where having is so natural, so assumed, so effortless, that you don't even think about it anymore. Now let me show you the energetic mechanism of why effort pushes your desire away. Manifestation happens through resonance, not force. Think of a tuning fork. When you strike one tuning fork, another fork across the room begins to vibrate at the same frequency, without any physical contact, without any effort, through pure resonance. This is how manifestation works. When you are in the state of having your desire, when you embody that frequency naturally, effortlessly, circumstances, people, and opportunities that match that frequency are drawn to you automatically. Not because you're forcing them, because you're resonating with them. But when you try to force manifestation through effort, you're like someone trying to make the second tuning fork vibrate by pushing it, hitting it, working at it. You're creating discord, resistance, interference. The more you push, the more resistance you create. The more resistance you create, the more effort you think you need. The more effort you apply, the more you affirm lack. And the cycle continues, keeping your desire perpetually out of reach. Now, let me address something important. I teach visualization. I teach SATs. I teach techniques. But these techniques are not about effort. They're about assumption. When you visualize your desire fulfilled, you're not trying to make it happen. You're not working to create it. You're not forcing the universe to give it to you. You're simply occupying the state of already having it. You're rehearsing the feeling of possession. You're assuming it's done. And if there's effort in your visualization, if you're straining, forcing, trying hard, you're doing it wrong. True visualization is effortless. You close your eyes and you're simply there in the reality where your desire is fulfilled. No trying, no forcing, just being. It should feel natural, easy, like remembering something that already happened rather than trying to create something that hasn't. If your visualization feels like work, you're in the wrong state. You're trying instead of being. In Scripture, God rested on the seventh day, the Sabbath, the day of rest after creation. This is one of the most profound teachings about manifestation, hidden in plain sight. When God rested, creation was complete. Not because God was tired, but because when creation is truly finished, effort ceases. This is the state you must reach regarding your desire. You assume it's done, completely done, finished, already created in consciousness, and then you rest. You don't keep trying to create it. You don't keep working at manifesting it. You don't keep putting effort into making it happen. You rest in the knowing that it's already done. This rest, this cessation of effort, is not laziness. It's the ultimate act of faith. It's the seal on your assumption. It says, I have assumed my desire fulfilled. The work is done. Now I rest, knowing that what I have established in consciousness must manifest in my world. And it's in this rest, this effortlessness, this complete absence of trying, that manifestation happens most powerfully. Let me show you something else about effort that you need to see. Most of the time, your effort isn't coming from faith. It's coming from anxiety. You're not working hard because you believe it's working. You're working hard because you're afraid it's not. You visualize obsessively because you're worried that if you don't, nothing will happen. You repeat affirmations constantly because you're anxious that your desire won't come without them. You try technique after technique because you're scared that you haven't found the right one yet. All of this effort is anxiety in disguise. And anxiety is the opposite of assumption. When you truly assume something, you're not anxious about it. You're certain of it. And certainty requires no effort, no constant checking, no desperate trying. Think about something you're absolutely certain of. The sun will rise tomorrow. You exist. Your name is your name. Are you anxious about these things? Are you putting effort into making them true? No, because certainty is effortless. This is the state you must reach regarding your desire. Not anxious effort, but effortless certainty. So if effort is your enemy, what do you do instead? You assume, and then you let go. That's it. That's the entire practice. You choose your desired state. You occupy it fully, not through strain and effort, but through natural imagination and feeling. You assume it's done. You claim it as yours in consciousness. And then you let go of trying to make it happen. You don't monitor the physical world for evidence. You don't anxiously work at manifesting. You don't force or push or try. You simply live from your assumption, naturally, effortlessly, the way you live from any assumption you hold about yourself. If someone asks, are you trying to manifest abundance? And your honest answer is yes, I'm trying so hard. You're in the wrong state. The right answer is I am abundant. I'm not trying to be. I am. This shift from trying to have to simply being is everything. Now some of you are thinking, but don't I have to do anything? Don't I have to take action? Let me clarify this carefully. There's a difference between inspired action and forced effort. Forced effort comes from the belief that your manifestation won't happen unless you make it happen. It's rooted in lack, fear, and doubt. Inspired action comes from the naturalness of your assumption. It's what you do because it's natural for someone in your state to do it. A person who is wealthy doesn't force themselves to manage their money. They naturally do what wealthy people do because that's who they are. A person who is loved doesn't try to behave like someone who's loved. They naturally interact from that state because that's their reality. Do you see the difference? One is trying to become. The other is being. One is effort. The other is naturalness. When you truly assume your desire fulfilled, certain actions will feel natural, easy, obvious, not forced. You take these actions not because you're trying to make your desire happen, but because they're what someone in your state would naturally do. This is the only action that serves manifestation. Action that flows from being, not from trying to become. Here's how you know if you're in true assumption or if you're still trapped in effort. Ask yourself, if I stopped doing all my manifestation techniques right now, stopped visualizing, stopped affirming, stopped trying, would I still feel like my desire is mine? If the answer is no, if you feel like you must keep working at it, or it won't happen, you're not in assumption, you're in effort. True assumption doesn't need constant reinforcement. It doesn't require perpetual technique. It doesn't depend on you trying every day. True assumption is a resting state, a settled knowing, a natural certainty that requires no effort to maintain. You know your name without having to repeat it to yourself every day. You know you exist without having to visualize it constantly. You know what you know with zero effort. This is how you must know your desire is fulfilled, with the same effortless certainty. This is the core distinction you must understand. Most people are working toward their desire, trying to reach it, putting effort into getting there. But manifestation doesn't work that way. You must live from your desire, from the end, from the state of already having. And when you're truly living from it, there's no effort, there's no trying, there's no working toward, there's only being. You're not trying to become wealthy. You are wealthy, and you live from that state. You're not working toward being loved. You are loved, and you move through your day from that reality. You're not putting effort into manifesting success. You are successful, and everything you do flows from that identity. This is living from the end, and it's completely effortless. The moment effort enters, you've exited the end and returned to the journey. You're no longer in having. You're in trying to get, and trying to get never manifests having. Only being in the state of having manifests having. There's a beautiful paradox at the heart of manifestation that most people miss. The moment you stop trying to make it happen is often the moment it happens. Why? Because when you stop trying, you finally let go of the lack assumption hidden in your effort. You've stopped affirming, I don't have this yet, through your desperate attempts to create it. You finally entered the state of rest, of completion, of already having. I've seen it countless times. Someone tries and tries and tries to manifest something. They put in tremendous effort. Nothing happens. Then one day, exhausted, they give up. They surrender. They stop trying, and within days or weeks, the manifestation appears. Not because giving up made it happen, but because in that surrender, they accidentally entered the state they'd been trying so hard to reach, the state of already having, where no effort is needed. This doesn't mean you should give up on your desire. It means you should give up on trying to force it into existence. Assume it's done, and then rest in that completion, effortlessly. So what does this look like practically? Instead of spending hours trying to visualize, spend 5 minutes naturally imagining your wish fulfilled. Make it easy. Make it feel good. No strain, no force. Instead of repeating affirmations hundreds of times trying to convince yourself, simply assume it once with certainty and move on with your day. Instead of constantly checking for evidence and working to stay positive, occupy your desired state naturally and let circumstances catch up. Instead of anxiously monitoring every thought and forcing yourself to think correctly, gently redirect your mind when you notice it's wandered. Then let it rest in your assumption. The entire practice becomes light, easy, natural, effortless. You're not working at manifestation. You're simply being in your desired state, and being requires no effort whatsoever. Ultimately, this teaching is about shifting your identity. You are not someone who is trying to manifest something. You are someone who has it. And someone who has something doesn't put effort into having it. They just have it. Naturally. Effortlessly. Obviously. When this becomes your identity, when you stop being the person who's working to get and become the person who already has, everything changes. You move through your day differently. You think differently. You feel differently. You are different. And the world responding to who you are in consciousness must reorganize to reflect this new identity. Not because you forced it, because you assumed it. Effortlessly. Tonight, I want you to do something radical. Stop trying. Just stop. Stop trying to manifest your desire. Stop working at it. Stop putting effort into making it happen. Instead, simply assume it's already done. Feel yourself as the person who already has it, not the person trying to get it, the person who has it. And notice how effortless this is, how natural, how easy. You're not forcing anything. You're not straining. You're just being in the state of having. Tomorrow, when you wake up, don't start working on your manifestation. Don't begin your effort. Simply be the person who already has what you desire. Move through your day from that state, naturally, effortlessly. When you catch yourself trying, when you notice effort creeping in, stop, breathe, return to natural assumption. Do this for 7 days. A full week of effortless assumption instead of effortful trying, and watch what happens. I promise you the manifestations that come from effortless assumption will far surpass anything you achieve through effort, because effort creates resistance. But assumption creates reality. Let me close with this. You already have your desire in consciousness. It's already done, already created, already yours. The only question is, will you exhaust yourself trying to get what you already have? Or will you rest in the knowing that it's yours? And let that assumption manifest effortlessly. Effort is your enemy, because it denies what's already true in consciousness. Effortless assumption is your power, because it acknowledges what's already done. Stop trying, start being. Stop working, start resting in completion. Stop forcing, start allowing. This is the secret of true manifestation. Not effort, effortlessness. You are not learning to try harder. You are learning that you never needed to try at all. You only needed to assume. This is the secret. Thank you and good evening. This is Best of Lectures. I will see you in the next video.
People always ask me, how do I create the person of my dreams that I want in my life? And I always say, take out a piece of paper, write down everything you want in that person, and then, so most people are unconsciously responding to the conditions in their environment, experiencing emotions that are derived from the hormones of stress. Those emotions cause us to feel separate from our dreams. They heighten our senses. So if we can't see them, it doesn't exist. The threat or the danger puts us in emergency mode, and we can think positively about the relationship we want. We could send the signal out into the field. We could have pictures. We could remind ourselves of what it is. But if you're not drawing the experience back to you because your response to the environment is actually weakening your organism, it's weakening your response, it's actually weakening the body, then you will be, as a victim, more vulnerable to the conditions in your environment, whether they're large or small. And I'm talking about microorganisms as well. So if you wanted a true relationship where it was fundamentally based on this concept called love, now let's talk about that, because we practice this a lot in the work that we do. If you could truly begin to practice trading those survival emotions every day for elevated emotions, and you practiced opening your heart, it's a skill that has to take place where you move out of survival. So people say, well, I can't open my heart. I can't feel love. And I say, well, what do you practice feeling? Because whatever you practice feeling, you're feeling most of the time. And that feeling could be guilt, but you're... So if you have an event in your life, like an experience in your life that has a strong emotional charge to it, and you don't feel like your normal self. You feel this alarm system switch on. You're going to narrow your focus on the cause, and the brain's going to take a snapshot, and that's called a long-term memory, right? So then what people don't know is that every time they think about that event, they're producing the same chemistry in their brain and body as if the event was occurring in that moment. So the highly charged event is actually producing the emotion, and the body is so objective that it doesn't know the difference between the real experience that's creating the emotion and the emotion that the person is fabricating by thought alone. The body's believing it's in the same environmental experience. So the highly charged emotional events you use, some people think of their ex, and the thought of that person makes them sick, makes them feel out of balance. So all you need is an image and an emotion, a thought and a feeling, a stimulus and a response, and you're conditioning your body emotionally into the past. So now the memories are just not in the brain now, they're in the body. So now that thought of that person is actually creating a response in the body that's consuming the body's energy for growth and repair, consuming the body's energy to create. Because in survival, it's not a time to create. In survival, it's time to run, fight, and hide. So the problem is that it becomes a subconscious program. It's no longer a conscious process. It now is a subconscious process. So now the body has been conditioned into resentment, into unhappiness, into fear, anxiety, whatever it is. And so this is back to our concept of bringing love into your life. So you say to that person, okay, you open your heart, and they're going to say, are you kidding me? I was injured, I was hurt, I'm not going to do that. Let me see your cards first, right? And once I see your cards, then I'll open up a little bit. So we protect this, right? So now in that state of survival, the research shows that the long-term effects of those stress hormones are pushing the genetic buttons that are creating disease. The body can't live in emergency mode for that period of time. So in a sense, the person is making themselves sick by thought alone. The thoughts are making them sick, literally. So the problem is now the body is conditioned into the past, and it's the mind. Now, once the body is the mind, the body becomes the mind emotionally. So now all of this energy stored in the body, and now the person has to leave their unhappiness and step out into the unknown. They have to get out of the familiar feelings that has defined them. So they'll say, I can't really feel joy. I can't really feel love.
Let me share something vital with you. You are not here to learn how to hear what you want. You are here to awaken to the realization that you already have it. The very act of trying to manifest implies a state of life. And this is precisely what keeps you from your desires. Think for a moment about your breathing. Do you try to breathe? Do you wake up each morning with a detailed plan upon you will successfully inhale and exhale throughout the day? Of course not. Breathing is natural, it is automatic, it is already yours. This is exactly how manifestation works. Yet we've complicated it with endless techniques and methods. When you entered this room tonight, did you doubt that the chair would support you when you sat down? Did you rehearse affirmations about the chair's stability? Did you visualize yourself successfully sitting? No, you simply sat, knowing with complete certainty that the chair would support you. This absolute knowing, this natural assumption, is the state from which all manifestation flows. Consider how you use your imagination throughout the day. When you're wife, you don't try to imagine negative scenarios. They flow effortlessly. When you're excited about a future event, you don't strain to imagine it. The pleasant scenarios play in your mind with ease. This is because imagination is your natural state of being. It's not something you need to master. It's something you're already doing every moment of every day. Let me tell you about a student who came to me recently. She had been trying to manifest a new career for 3 years. She had vision boards, affirmation journals, and attended countless workshops. She meditated daily, visualized religiously, and yet felt further from her goal than when she started. Why? Because every action she took was rooted in the belief that she didn't have what she wanted. I asked her a simple question. When you go to sleep at night, do you try to dream, or do dreams simply come? This question changed everything for her. She realized that all her effort, all her trying was actually a declaration of absence. The very act of trying was a confession of lack. Your natural state is one of fulfillment. Just as a sea contains within it everything needed to become a mighty oak, you contain within you everything you could ever desire. The oak doesn't try to become, it simply unfolds according to its nature. Your desires are not something to be achieved, they are something to be revealed. Think about when you're engrossed in a good book or lost in a movie. You don't try to imagine the scenes, they naturally form in your mind. The characters become real, their world becomes your world, and you experience every emotion as if it were happening to you. This is the natural power of your consciousness. It doesn't require effort, it requires allowing. Many of you have heard the phrase living in the end, but I want you to understand something crucial tonight. You are always living in the end of some assumption. Right now, you're living in the end of all your current assumptions about yourself and your world. These assumptions didn't require effort to maintain. They simply became your reality through acceptance. When you wake up in the morning, you don't try to be yourself, you simply are. You don't try to remember your name or your past experiences. They are simply there as part of your consciousness. This is how natural manifestation should feel. It's not about trying, it's about being. Let me share another profound truth. The feeling of effort in manifestation is actually resistance to what already is. When you try to manifest something, you're unknowingly pushing against your natural state of abundance. It's like trying to force a door open, but it's already unlocked. The very effort prevents the simple action of turning the handle. Consider a time when you fell in love. Did you try to feel love? Did you follow a 5-step process to generate those butterflies in your stomach? No, the feeling came naturally because you allowed it. The same is true for every state of consciousness. You don't need to try to enter a state. You need only to allow yourself to be aware of it. Many of you have created the elaborate rituals around manifestation. You convince yourselves that without these specific actions, without this precise sequence of steps, your desires cannot manifest. But I tell you now, these rituals are like training wheels on a bicycle. They may have helped you understand the concept, but they are not the essence of the ride. Think about your current financial situation. Whether you have abundance or scarcity in your bank account, you didn't have to try to maintain that state. It exists because of your deep, unwavering assumptions about money. These assumptions weren't created through effort. They were absorbed through experience and acceptance. The same is true for your relationships, your health, your career. Every aspect of your life is a reflection of assumptions you hold without effort. The key to transformation isn't in trying harder. It's in recognizing that a new state of consciousness is already available to you. I want you to notice something right now. Notice how effortlessly you're listening to my words. Notice how naturally the meanings form in your mind. Notice how easily you understand what I'm saying without trying to understand. This effortless comprehension is your natural state. Manifestation should be just as effortless. Let me share with you what happened when I first understood this truth. I have been studying these principles for years, diligently practicing techniques, following every method I could find. But one day, while watching a sunset, I realized something profound. The sun didn't try to set. The colors didn't try to be beautiful. The moment didn't try to be perfect. It simply was. In that moment, I understood that all my trying had been an elaborate distraction from a simple truth. I already was what I was trying to become. The very consciousness that allowed me to conceal my desires was the same consciousness that contained their fulfillment. Think about the time when you received unexpected good news. In that moment, did you try to feel joy? Did you attempt to manufacture happiness? No, the feeling flowed naturally from the assumption of good fortune. This is how manifestation works. It's not about trying to feel a certain way. It's about allowing yourself to assume a new state of being. Many of you have created vision boards and written detailed lists of your desires. These can be wonderful tools for clarification, but they become obstacles when you believe they are necessary for manifestation. The truth is, your desire exists because its fulfillment exists. They are two sides of the same coin. Consider how easily you recognize yourself in a mirror. You don't try to remember what you look like. You simply know it's you. This immediate recognition is how natural your desired state should feel. It's not something to achieve, it's something to recognize as already true. I'm reminded of a gentleman who attended one of my lectures. He had been trying to manifest a specific position in his company for 2 years. He had done everything right, visualization, affirmations, action steps. But the position remained elusive. When I explained this principle to him, he realized that his very dedication to the process was a declaration that he didn't have what he wanted. That night, he stopped trying. Instead, he simply assumed the position was his. He didn't visualize it, affirm it, or take any special actions. He just knew it was done. Within a week, circumstances rearranged themselves, and he was offered the position. Not because he tried harder, but because he stopped trying altogether. Your world right now, every detail of it, exists without effort on your part. You don't try to maintain your current circumstances, they simply are. This same principle applies to any state you wish to experience. The trying keeps you locked in the consciousness of absence. Think about your name. When someone calls you, do you have to try to remember if that's really your name? Of course not. The recognition is immediate and effortless. This is how your desired state should feel, not something footsy, but something that simply is. Many of you have spent years studying manifestation techniques. You've learned about vibration, attraction, alignment. But I tell you now, these are all descriptions of natural processes that happen by themselves. You don't need to understand how digestion works to digest your food. You don't need to comprehend the mechanics of sleep to fall asleep. Consider how easily you distinguish hot from cold, sweet from sour, pleasure from pain. These recognitions require no effort. They are natural functions of your consciousness. The same is true for manifesting your desires. The effort you're applying is actually preventing the natural expression of what already exists. Let me tell you about another student who struggled with concept. She had been trying to manifest perfect health, following every healing modality she could find. The more she tried, the worse her symptoms became. But she finally understood that health was her natural state. But she didn't need to try to be healthy. Her healing began. Not because she did anything different, but because she stopped doing altogether. Your consciousness is the only reality. Right now, you're conscious of being someone who needs to try to manifest desires. But I tell you, it's consciousness itself is what needs to shift. Not through effort, but through recognition. Think about how you know you exist. You need to prove it to yourself. Do you need to try to be? No, your existence is self-evident. It requires no proof, no maintenance. This same effortless knowing is available for any state you wish to experience. Many of you have created elaborate stories about why manifestation must be difficult. You've convinced yourselves that value comes through struggle, that rewards require effort. But look at nature. Does a flower try to bloom? Does a star try to shine? No, they simply express their nature. Your nature is unlimited consciousness. Every state, every experience, every possibility exists within you now. So trying is what keeps you from experiencing this truth. It's like trying to reach your hand when your hand is already part of you. The very act of trying creates an illusion of separation. Consider how easily you fall asleep when you're tired. You don't try to sleep. In fact, trying often keeps you awake. You simply allow suit to come. This same allow is all that's needed for your desires to manifest. The trying is what keeps them at bay. I want you to understand something profound. The very fact that you can desire something means it already exists within your consciousness. You couldn't desire what you couldn't conceive, and you couldn't conceive what isn't already part of your consciousness. Think about dreaming. When you dream, entire worlds appear without effort. Character, situations, emotions all rise naturally from your consciousness. This same creative power is operating like now, creating your world. The only difference is that you convinced yourself that this world requires effort to change. Let me share one more story. A woman came to me devastated because she had been trying to manifest a loving relationship for years. She had done everything, dating apps, social events, personal development work, but every relationship fell short. When she finally understood that love was her natural state, that she didn't need to try to attract it, everything changed. She stopped seeking and started being the love she desired. Within months, she met her perfect partner, not through trying, but through allowing her natural state to express itself. Your desires are not separate from you. They are not distant goals to be achieved whoever. They are expressions of your consciousness waiting to be recognized. The trying keeps them in future, the knowing brings them into the present. Think about how you know what you want. The knowing itself is effortless. You don't try to want what you want. The wanting arises naturally from your consciousness. This same naturalness applies to the having. The trying creates the illusion of distance between wanting and having. As we conclude tonight, I want you to realize something. Everything I said has been absorbed by your consciousness without effort. You didn't try to understand. Understanding happened naturally. This same effortless absorption is how manifestation works. It's not about trying, it's about allowing what already is to express itself through you. Remember, the oak is already in the acorn. The butterfly is already in the caterpillar. Your desired fate is already within you. Stop trying to become what you already are. Stop trying to achieve what is already yours. Stop trying to manifest what already exists. Your only task is to allow your natural state of fulfillment to express itself. This allowing requires no effort, no techniques, no special practices. It requires only the recognition that what you seek is already yours. Let this understanding sink into your consciousness now. Feel the relief of knowing that you don't have to try anymore. Feel the freedom of recognizing that what you desire already exists within you. Feel the peace of allowing your natural state of fulfillment to express itself. You are not here to learn how to manifest. You are here to remember that manifestation is your natural state. Everything you desire is already yours. The trying was the only thing keeping it from your experience. Go forth now, not in effort, but in the quiet comfort of knowing that you already have everything you desire. Let this knowing guide your steps, shape your thoughts, and create your reality, not through trying, but through being what you already are. For in truth, you have never lacked anything. You have never been separate from your desires. You have never needed to try. You have always been complete, whole, and fulfilled. The only change needed is in your recognition of this eternal truth. And with this recognition, your world will transform. Not because you tried to change it, but because you allowed it to reflect what was always true. Your natural state of fulfillment will express itself in every area of your life, creating exactly what you desire without ease, without trying, without struggle. For this is the true art of manifestation, not doing but being, not trying but allowing, not becoming but recognizing what already is. And now you know. And knowing is enough. Let this truth settle into your consciousness. Let it transform your world. Let it set you free from the bondage of trial. For in this freedom, in this natural state of being, everything you desire will flow to you as naturally as breath flows to your lungs and light flows from the sun. Treat of higher experience memory. When you recall a happy moment from your past, dear stranger, remember the joy. Do you employ techniques to access that feeling? No, the memory and its associated emotion arise naturally in your consciousness. Consider this. Right now, as you sit here, you are simultaneously aware of being in this room and being the person you know yourself to be. This dual awareness requires no effort. You don't try to maintain your identity while being present in this space. Most states of consciousness coexist effortlessly. Many of you have created a practice of what you call living in the end. But I tell you now, you're always living in the end of some assumption. Every moment of your experience is the end result of states you've accepted as real. The person sitting here now is the end result of all the assumptions you've embraced without effort. Let me tell you about a remarkable transformation I witnessed. A gentleman who had attended my lectures for years approached me one day. He had been diligently practicing techniques to manifest financial abundance. Every morning he would spend hours visualizing wealth, repeating affirmations, and taking inspired action. Yet his financial situation remained unchanged. One evening, after hearing about this principle of natural manifestation, he had an epiphany. He realized that his very dedication to these practices was a declaration of not having what he desired. That night, he did something revolutionary. He stopped all his manifestation practices. Instead, he simply accepted that abundance was his natural state. Within 3 weeks, his entire financial reality transformed. Business opportunities appeared effortlessly. Long-standing debts were unexpectedly forgiven. A forgotten investment suddenly yielded substantial returns, not because he tried harder, but because he stopped trying altogether. Think about how you experience the present moment. You'll try to be here now. You simply are. This same effortless presence is all that's required to experience your desires. The trying creates resistance to what naturally is. Merely you develop complex rituals around your manifestation practice. You've convinced yourself that without these specific action, without these precise methods, your desires cannot materialize. But I ask you, does a tree need rituals to grow? Does the sun need techniques to shine? Does your heart need practices to beat? Your consciousness is infinitely more powerful than any technique. It is the very substance from which all experience springs. When you truly understand this, you'll see that all your trying has been like trying to wet water or heat fire, unnecessarily possible. Consider how naturally you fall into different states throughout your day. When you're absorbed in work, you don't try to be focused, you simply are. When you're relaxing with loved ones, you don't try to be at ease, you naturally are. This same effortless shifting of states is all that's required for manifestation. Let me share another truth that many find hard to accept. The very act of seeking guidance on manifestation is often a declaration of not having. When you attend workshops, read books, and practice techniques, you're unknowingly affirming that manifestation is something you need to learn, rather than your natural state to be. Think about how you know you're a liar. Do you need proof? Do you need techniques to maintain your existence? Of course not. This same natural knowing is available for every state you wish to experience. The techniques and practices, while well-intentioned, often serve as barriers to this natural knowing. I'm reminded of a young woman who had been trying to manifest a specific relationship. She had created elaborate visualization scenarios, written detailed lists of qualities she desired, and performed countless manifestation rituals. Yet love seemed to elude her. One day she realized that all her trying was a declaration of absence. She stopped all her practices and simply accepted that love was her natural state. Within weeks, not only did she meet someone who embodied everything she desired, but she realized that this person had been in her life all along. Her trying had blinded her to what was already present. Your consciousness is like an infinite ocean. Every possible experience exists within it as a potential wave. You don't need to try to create waves. They arise naturally from the ocean's nature. Similarly, your desires arise naturally from your consciousness, and their fulfillment is as natural as waves are to the ocean. Think about how easily you distinguish between what you want and what you don't want. This knowing requires no effort. The same effortless knowing is available for experiencing what you desire. The trier only creates resistance to this natural flow. Many of you have created a hierarchy of desires, believing that some things are easier to manifest than others. But I tell you, through your consciousness, all manifestations are equally natural. Just as it's no harder for your mind to imagine an elephant than a mouse, it's no harder to manifest big things than small ones. Consider how naturally you accept the reality of your current circumstances. You don't wake up each morning trying to convince yourself that your current life is real. You simply know it is. This same natural acceptance is all that's required for any state you wish to exude. As we conclude this extended exploration of effortless manifestation, I want you to realize something profound. The very fact that you can understand these words, that you can grasp these concepts, proves that they already exist within your consciousness. You're not learning something new, you're remembering what you've always known. Your task now is simple. Though your mind may try to complicate it, stop trying. Stop fantasizing, stop seeking. Instead, allowing yourself to be what you already are, pure consciousness containing within itself every possible experience, every possible state. Let this understanding transform how you approach your desires. Instead of trying to manifest them, simply recognize that they already exist within you. Instead of working to achieve them, allow them to express themselves naturally through you. For in truth, there is nothing to achieve, nothing to attract, nothing to create. There is only the recognition of what already is, the acceptance of what has always been true, the allowing of your natural state to express itself in your experience. And with this recognition, with this acceptance, with this allowing, everything you desire will flow into your experience as naturally as breath flows into your lungs, as effortlessly as light fills a room, as inevitably as waves arise from the ocean. This is the final truth, the ultimate understanding. You are not a seeker of experiences. You are the source of all experience. You are not trying to become something. You already are everything you desire to be. Let this truth settle into your consciousness now. Let it transform your approach to life. Let it free you from the bondage of trying, seeking, and struggling. For in this freedom, in this natural state of being, everything you desire is already yours. Go forth now, not as someone trying to manifest, but as the natural manifestation of pure consciousness itself. Let your desires flow through you, as naturally as life flows through nature. For this is your true state, your natural being, your eternal reality. And it is done. Rest in this truth. Rest on this understanding. Be what you already are. For in this simple acceptance lies the fulfillment of all desires, the realization of all dreams, the manifestation of all possibilities. And now you know, and knowing is enough. This is where we'll conclude our time together. Though the truth we've explored will continue to unfold within your consciousness, revealing ever deeper layers of understanding, ever greater expressions of your natural state of fulfillment. Remember, you are not here to try, but to be. Not to become, but to recognize. Not to achieve, but to allow. For in this recognition, in this allowing lies the secret of effortless manifestation, the art of natural being, the truth of who you really are. Thank you.
Everything in the universe is vibration, alive with frequency, from galaxies to the smallest particles. And money is no exception. Money is not evil. It's neutral, pure energy, responsive, fluid. It flows based on your inner signal, not your hustle. So the real question isn't, how do I earn more? It's what energy am I emitting that money is responding to. When we speak about wealth, we're not speaking about digits or gold, we're speaking about resonance. How much you're in harmony with the rhythm of abundance. Money is simply the echo that follows your vibrational command. If you shift your state of being, the outer world has no choice but to follow. This isn't just mindset, it's metaphysics. Your energy at every moment is rooted in either contraction or expansion. These are not moods, they are states of consciousness. Lack is a low, dense frequency. It says there's never enough. I must survive. Flow is light, open, and magnetic. It says, I am in sync with divine supply. You were conditioned into lack. It is not your nature. It was your training. From a young age, scarcity was normalized and abundance was shamed. But flow is your birthright. The universe has never been in shortage, only in abundance. If your thoughts constantly orbit around how, when, and what if, you're unknowingly blocking flow. True wealth begins with the courage to believe you're already supported. Let this sink in. Money is not physical. It's a vibration given form. Just like electricity powers your home, money powers desires, decisions, expansion. It's a medium, not the message. When you shift your inner world, you don't chase money. Money begins chasing you. Because wealth isn't attracted to action, it's attracted to alignment. Every dollar you receive is a snapshot of the vibration you emitted before it arrived. The universe doesn't operate by logic. It follows frequency like water follows gravity. Money shows up in your world to serve a mirror, one that reflects your beliefs about worth, value, and self. And when your energy says, I am already whole, life begins to deliver from that truth. Every thought you think, every belief you hold, every emotion you feel, broadcasts a signature frequency. That frequency determines what you allow, what you resist, and what flows toward you. Think of it like this. Money doesn't come when you're needy. It comes when you're receptive, aligned, and rooted in wholeness. Desperation is repellent. It signals the universe that you don't trust the process. Gratitude, on the other hand, accelerates attraction. It tells the field, I already have. The wealth you seek is already available, but your frequency is the key that unlocks it. If your energy says, I lack, even abundance will pass you by. But if it says, I'm whole, lack can't even find you. This isn't philosophy, it's energetic law. Here are the 3 spiritual mechanics that shape financial reality. 1. The law of vibration. All things respond to frequency, including wealth. 2. The law of assumption. What you expect with conviction becomes real. 3. The law of circulation. The more you flow, the more you receive. These laws are not moral, they are mechanical, they do not punish, they reflect. You're not under judgment, you're under law. And the law doesn't care whether you're spiritual or secular. It simply obeys what you broadcast. These principles govern everything from water to thought to wealth. You don't have to control the law. You only need to harmonize with it. Once you understand these rules, manifestation becomes natural. You are already that which you want to be, and your refusal to believe this is the only reason you do not see it. Money doesn't show up when you ask. It shows up when you feel it already belongs to you. Your subconscious doesn't know the difference between real and imagined. It only knows the emotional signal you send. Your imagination is divine. It is your access point to creation. If you feel wealthy now, the quantum field reorganizes itself to match. Desire is not asking, it's claiming. To feel wealthy while having little is not delusion, it's power. You must walk in the energy of your outcome before the world can show you evidence. Here's the truth. Your outer wealth is capped by your inner beliefs. Most people are running subconscious scripts written in childhood. I'm not good with money. Money changes people. It's selfish to want more. To rewrite these scripts, you must enter the theta brain state, the space between conscious and unconscious. You do this through deep meditation, affirmations charged with emotion, daily reprogramming rituals. Healing your relationship with money is healing your relationship with yourself. Every limitation you carry was inherited, not chosen. But what was once programmed can be reprogrammed. You don't have to fight your beliefs. You just need to consistently feed new ones until they take root. Wealth is not something you chase. It's something you allow once your mind stops resisting it. Money isn't the goal. It's a consequence of who you become. So stop chasing. Start becoming. You're not just a person. You're a field of intelligence, a magnetic current of desire, memory, intention, and light. When you align with your truth, when you act in resonance, when you release the resistance, money shows up, not as a savior, but as a mirror. Every dollar is an echo of how much you believe you deserve to receive. You don't earn money, you allow it. You don't attract money, you harmonize with its rhythm. And once you become the source, the flow becomes endless. This is not magic, it is your natural design. Money is not just energy, it is also a spiritual barometer, a divine test revealing your level of trust, identity, and sovereignty. Many live as if money is their savior, not their reflection. The universe often withholds money to show you that you are the source, not your job, not your bank, not even your effort. When you transcend the need for money, when you stand in the awareness that you are already complete, that's when the floodgates open. Money isn't proof of success. It's the echo of your spiritual freedom. And that's why this knowledge must be shared. Because we live in a world where people worship the symbol and forget their own divinity. You are not chasing money. You are awakening to the truth that it has always been chasing you. The law of energy is simple. Whatever you withhold, you block. Whatever you circulate, you amplify. Money, love, wisdom, insight, they are not meant to be hoarded. They are meant to move, to breathe, to expand. You must give freely and without expectation if you wish to receive in full measure. So ask yourself, what is the purpose of this knowledge? Not just to become wealthier, but to awaken others to the truth of their creative power. To lift the veil, even for one's soul, is a sacred act of service. When you understand that wealth is your nature, your duty becomes this: circulate the energy, share the truth, activate the field. By sharing this message, you are not giving away power. You are multiplying it within yourself and across the field of collective consciousness. There is someone right now living in fear and confusion about money. A single share of this wisdom could open the gates of their mind. You become not just a receiver of wealth, you become a distributor of abundance. If this content made sense to you, don't keep this knowledge to yourself. Share this video with someone who needs to hear this message. Help others see that they too have the power to transform their financial reality. And remember, this is just the beginning. Subscribe to the channel to continue receiving content like this, which will help you grow, evolve, and achieve the life you deserve. Leave your comment below, telling us how you plan to put this into practice, and let's build a community focused on prosperity and transformation together.
You've pictured it 1,000 times. You've closed your eyes, felt the emotion, imagined the outcome. You've tasted the future before it even arrived. You've whispered your intentions into the silence. And yet, here you are, still waiting, still wondering why nothing has truly shifted. Or maybe you've seen tiny ripples, a sign here, a brief sense of movement there. But then, the same thoughts return, the same habits, the same version of you, quietly circling the same loop. If you've ever felt like your vision is powerful, but your reality isn't reflecting it, there's a reason. Visualization isn't enough, not on its own, because it's not just about what you see with your eyes closed. It's about what you radiate with your eyes open. The field doesn't respond to desire. It responds to frequency. There's a vast difference between imagining a better future and broadcasting it, between dreaming about change and becoming the change. And that difference isn't subtle. It's energetic. It's vibrational. It's everything. The universe isn't listening to your words. It's not grading your vision board. It doesn't weigh your affirmations or track how many times you've let go. It listens to what you are. It mirrors your state. It reflects your signal. Not the one you conjure during meditation, the one you carry in your nervous system, in your breath, in the way you respond when life doesn't go your way. This is where most people get stuck. They try to manifest from the neck up, from thought alone, while the body is still stuck in survival mode, while the heart still signals fear, while the choices they make contradict the life they say they want. The result, mixed signals, and a quantum field that doesn't know what to do with them. Manifestation doesn't require more effort. It requires more coherence. When your thoughts, your emotions, and your behaviors all say the same thing, your frequency becomes clear, magnetic, stable. And the field, it responds not because it's impressed, but because it's matched. This isn't about forcing. This is about aligning. And alignment doesn't come from asking harder. It comes from becoming quieter. It comes from stopping the chase and realizing your dream life was never far away. It was always just on a different frequency. So how do you find that frequency? You begin to embody the energy of already mine. You stop living in the space of someday. You stop treating your dreams as visitors and start treating them like home. You breathe like someone who's arrived. You walk like someone who knows. You speak like someone who trusts their voice. Because identity isn't something you wait for. It's something you practice. You don't fake it. You familiarize yourself with it. Yes, at first it might feel strange. It might feel like you're lying to yourself, but that's only because your nervous system hasn't caught up to your truth. The frequency you're stepping into isn't foreign to your soul. It's just unfamiliar to your body. This is the heart of real manifestation. It's not about pretending to be something you're not. It's about remembering what you've always been and giving your body permission to finally catch up. Every day, you have a choice to keep feeding the frequency of not yet, or to begin nurturing the vibration of already here. Not because the external has changed, but because you have. Want to know the real secret? You don't manifest from your mind. You manifest from your state, your posture, your tone, your boundaries, your inner dialogue when no one's watching. This is not about looking fortunate. It's about embodying certainty. Not a loud, forced kind of certainty, but a quiet, calm knowing, the kind that doesn't beg, doesn't rush, doesn't obsess over signs, because it knows the signal has already been sent. You don't need to convince the universe. You need to calibrate to the version of you that already lives the life you desire. This is where the shift begins. You no longer live as someone trying to get abundance. You begin living as someone who is abundance. You don't wait to feel loved. You choose to feel lovable now. You don't react to lack. You lead with enoughness. You become the source, not the seeker. So if you're asking, how can I live in that frequency when nothing has changed? You lead with your energy, not your circumstances. You stop waiting for external evidence. You become the evidence. You live as if it's done, not to trick the universe, but to anchor your truth. And here's the beautiful part. You don't have to get it perfect. You just have to be consistent. Because when you choose that frequency again and again, your nervous system adapts. Your default state begins to change until the old identity, the one rooted in doubt, in delay, in proving, starts to fade. Not because you forced it out, but because it no longer matches who you are. You see, coherence is a choice you make every moment. To align your thoughts, your emotions, and your behaviors with the life you say you want. And every time you make that choice, no matter how small, the field responds. You're not here to chase a new reality. You're here to stabilize the one that's already orbiting you. Not by asking for it, but by embodying it. Because in the quantum field, energy leads and matter follows. So ask yourself, if I were already living the life I desire, how would I speak today? How would I hold myself? What choices would I make without hesitation? Would I shrink to fit old rooms? Would I wait for permission? Would I apologize for taking up space? Or would I own it fully, not because I need proof, but because I am proof? This is not a performance. It's a return. You're not faking confidence, you're reclaiming coherence. And that coherence becomes your compass. In a world that teaches you to wait, to earn, to deserve, you are remembering the truth. You are the signal. You are the shift. You are the manifestation. So today, speak one word from alignment. Make one choice from already having. Move 1 inch closer to your future self, not in concept, but in embodiment, and then again tomorrow, and the next day, until you forget what it felt like to live in separation from the life you were born to create. This isn't about becoming something more. It's about releasing everything that told you you weren't already enough. You don't need a louder voice, you need a steadier signal, and the world will catch up, because it must. You are no longer chasing your dream. You're becoming the person who naturally attracts it, and that changes everything.